So there is eligibility requirements across the state for pre-K. In Talbot County, we have all students that want to come to pre-K come. And it is an expense, but we feel that it's important to do to level that playing field early. We also feel our infant and toddler program is vital to making sure we're meeting the needs earlier with intervention. We're doing okay. We're doing about state average where we are. I would like to see us doing better. And I really think there are a lot of other counties that we're doing full day pre-K, and they're really showing a lot more success. So we were able to write for a grant, and we actually started full day pre-K at Easton Elementary School 2 years ago. We're in our second year. And this year we were able to add St. Michael's Elementary School. So we have 2 schools that are actually doing full day pre-K. Hopefully we're gonna see our data this year show that it definitely makes a difference. It's a big difference between 3 hours and 6.5 hours of programming that you can offer, and that early intervention as well. Kent County already does full day pre-K everywhere. We do not. So Kirwan will help us expand our full day programs. And then we really work with our early Head Start to make sure our 3-year-olds are getting into early Head Start. So we have a great partnership with Early Head Start and Head Start. Right. So college and career readiness, it really, so many people talk about the and or the or. Quite frankly, I feel like it's our job to make sure that students are prepared for the real world. Whether it's military, whether it's a career, a job right away, whether it's technical school, a 2-year college, or a 4-year college. So that really is an emphasis of college and career ready. I think some people try to say you need to do more one than the other. Right now, we're actually having 51% of our students are graduating with a career and technology completer, which we're really proud of since the state average was about 21% last year. So we're way ahead there. I think we're offering our students a lot more internships since we started our strategic plan. 5 years ago, we only had 39 interns. This year, we're up to 120 interns in our community. And I think getting our students out into the workforce really helps them not only see what they do like or don't like, but also learn a lot of those soft skills, getting to work on time and being dressed for success and understanding the ins and outs of maybe a career that's embellished through the media. And I say movies or TV, but what the real world is of that world of work. And it also helps them see the opportunities right here in their own community, so they come back and they give back to their community. So I think we're making a lot of success for college and career ready. We have about a 94% graduation rate, which is really way above the state average. And we have a dropout re-engagement coordinator. So if anyone's on the fence about what they need to do, we reach out to them. And if we have to do alternative planning, we do that as well. So my job is to make sure everybody has a plan and they're working the plan. What Kirwan does with college and career ready is really help us with some of those opportunities for students to be able to experience more of those apprenticeships, internships, more of the career and technology pathways. Those are expensive. It's real expensive. We're trying to do more with partnering with Chesapeake College and also with our community partners. But Kirwan really does help, like what I said with the equal opportunity schools. There's some grant funding to help pay for that, for people to come in and really help us see what are the things we can change culturally to make sure that we're making a difference for all children. But you know, the teaching profession has definitely changed over the years, and I'm not real sure that it's getting the respect. I know it's not getting the respect it deserves. There are a lot of changes in the profession for the pure fact that you have to remember that education is a mirror of our society, and our society has had a lot of changes over the years when it comes to society's ills, if you will. We're seeing a lot more symptoms of the opioid addiction problem, mental health, a lot more of poverty, and those all do come into the classroom. I know we only have them for 6.5 hours a day, but the teaching profession really used to be just education, and I really believe it's teaching the whole child. And in order to teach the whole child, you need to build those relationships, but understand where that child's coming from. And really it goes back to Maslow's needs. If they need to be fed, we need to make sure that they're fed. We need to make sure that they're feeling well, that they're mentally prepared. So if we can do anything to make sure that teachers are respected and they're getting the salaries that they deserve when kids are coming out of school. I have 3 grown children. They all made more than a teacher when they first graduated from college. So we have to remember that that profession is where all professions begin. And I do believe that our teachers work really hard and deserve the changes in the salary scale. They are all willing to work hard in the professional development arena to make sure their certifications are upheld. And I think that's really important. Teachers see themselves as lifelong learners, and they do make sure that they stay abreast of what's happening, but they definitely need the support. And that's one area of Kirwan. I think everyone can agree conceptually with Kirwan in all areas, but this is definitely an area we need to pay attention to because there is a teacher shortage. And to be honest with you, in Talbot County, it's becoming a crisis. I have 11 openings as of right now that I've not been able to fill, and I do not have any applicants. A lot of people are not going into teaching because it's a tough job. And I think anything we can do with Kirwan funding and to be able to enhance the pay scale, the teachers, I think we can get more of our students into the profession. We are working with our instructional assistants in becoming teachers, and I believe that's helping us grow our own, if you will. And we're also working with our students to try to go into the profession of education and helping them with school. Right, so let's talk a little bit about funding, and let's go back to Thornton. If you remember, Thornton was funded, and the way Thornton was funded was you were actually funded allotment of money per pupil, but then you were also given supplemental money for student groups that might need more support. So that's your special education, your English language learners, your 504 students. So there was actual supplemental funding to meet some of the needs of students that might need more support. What Kirwan is doing is they are looking at having some supplemental funding, but they're actually looking at the funding formula more based on property values and income. And when you look across the state, Talbot County is the second wealthiest county in the state of Maryland by this formula. But what a lot of people are asking, is the formula really fair? Because we do have 600 miles of waterfront, and we do have a lot of homes on the water that are worth a lot of money, but a lot of those people don't live here year round. So when you're looking at some of the funding sources, some people are disputing that. But I'd like to share with you an example of Kirwan funding that we received this year. And I'm going to use your teacher salaries as an example. So this year with Kirwan, because of that wealth-based formula, we were given $114,000 to supplement our teacher salaries at the beginning salary scale. Our neighbor, Caroline County, was given $700,000 to supplement their new teachers at that salary scale because their funding formula shows them to be a poorer county. Queen Anne's County was given $500,000. And so when you look at our neighboring counties and the disparity of how that is given, it's not fair. And not only is it not fair, but it's going to cause our teacher shortage to become even more of a crisis because their starting teacher salaries are definitely going to go higher than ours. And then you're going to start seeing new people coming out of college going to the school systems that are receiving more of the funding for that starting teacher salary. So we do need to work very closely with our county council about the funding of education because being the second wealthiest county in the state of Maryland, we are third from the bottom with per pupil funding. And that is an area that we do need to keep an eye on and we need to look at. And what Kirwan is doing is really asking the counties to kind of give a little more. And with our tax revenue cap, that's going to be really difficult for Talbot County. So I know they're looking, Kirwan was charged with making us a globally competitive school systems. And I think they've done a fabulous job coming up with conceptually with what we need to do to be forward thinkers and innovative. But the funding formula, I think, still has some work to do. And I think they actually see where some counties are really going to get hurt with this current funding formula. And they have some more work to do. They spent 2 years conceptually with the legislation. They haven't spent nearly that enough time on the funding formula. So we're hopeful that they'll go back and take a look at that. Because it's just the accountability piece has always been test scores, which are so very important. It's very important to look at your product. Our product are graduates, and where are they going to college, and where are they going into the world of work, looking at their academic track record, if you will. But the actual accountability piece is also about the fiscal part. Are you being fiscally good fiscal stewards of the money? And are you, so there'll be a financial report card by school. How much does it really take to educate a child at White Marsh versus Chapel District? And you're really looking at all of the funding that goes into educating each child. So there's a financial accountability to it. There's an academic accountability to it. There's also some accountability on access, making sure that students have access to those opportunities, like I talked to you about earlier about advanced placement courses, access to well-rounded curriculum, making sure they are getting health instruction, making sure that they are getting physical education, making sure they are getting science every year at the elementary level, and that we're not leaving some things out. So that's access. And really looking at the student groups and making sure that, it's not just students that have parent advocates that might help them have access, but opportunities. It also looks at culture and school safety. So it does look at what are the students and teachers' perceptions, and soon to be added parents' perceptions of the school environment. And do they feel that their school is safe? Do they feel that their school is inclusive? Do they feel that their school is providing an adequate education for their child when it comes to transportation, food services? So the accountability piece is really going to be full scale, looking at all aspects of educating children. And I believe in the future you'll also see those supports that are needed, and that includes mental health, social workers, health in general. We're very lucky to have wellness centers in our school. So we have nurse practitioners that actually are in our schools to help see our students that may need to be seen. So I think that accountability piece is looking at more than, I don't want to say just academics, but really looking at how much does it really take to educate a whole child, and are we doing it adequately and equitably across our school system?